Hello everyone! Last week I talked about Rashomon, a highly respected and internationally acclaimed work of art. Now, to balance things out, here's a review of a rubber monster movie. Today we're going to take a look at 1958's It, The Terror from Beyond Space. This sci-fi horror film is set in early 1973 when a rescue mission arrives on Mars to pick up Lieutenant Edward Carruthers, the sole survivor of the first manned mission to the Red Planet. The rescue team doesn't trust Carruthers, believing him to be a murderer who killed his crewmates when their ship was destroyed to ensure he'd have enough food for his own survival. They're eager to bring him back for a court-martial, but Carruthers claims he's innocent, insisting his crew was attacked by something. What he doesn't know, what none of them knows, is that that thing has snuck aboard the spaceship just before takeoff, and it's not long before it starts picking off crew members. This one is something of a diamond in the rough. Maybe that's overselling it a bit, but when people talk about underrated B films, especially of this era, this one pops into my head. I saw it the first time about a decade ago, and I was pleasantly surprised. It's got a good structure, and is decently spooky, and it left an impression, which is why I've had it on my list of creature features that I'd like to share with all of you. It's a strong plot with good conflict, man versus man giving way to man versus monster, and it helps that the pacing, outside of some necessary but bland opening exposition, is consistently keeping things in motion, moving the narrative forward. It hits all the beats it should, generating anxiety and suspense, and including some space for emotional development. The screenplay was written by Jerome Bixby, a prominent name in science fiction. Bixby's most known for his short story It's a Good Life, which was adapted into a popular Twilight Zone episode starring Billy Mumy as a powerful little boy who terrifies his family into submission. He also wrote 4 episodes of Star Trek, the original series, and co-wrote with Otto Clement a story that became Fantastic Voyage. It, The Terror from Beyond Space, was his first screenplay, and he also did uncredited work on the film as the set designer. That makes sense, given how important the ship design is to the story. The sets themselves are simple, obviously low budget, but not clownish. That's possibly the advantage of being shot in black and white, which I think invites less scrutiny of the little knobs and dials and screens, meaning you can get away with less detail. But what stands out is the vertical spaceship design, each floor a designated area, and the multiple levels traversable through stairs running up the core of the ship. This design is integral to the plot because the crew ends up ascending higher and higher as the monster breaks past each barrier, to the point that they become trapped at the top. The actors play their roles straight, which is in keeping with the script. Unlike some movies where corny jokes are forced in for comic relief and just make you roll your eyes and say, "Get on with the movie," there's not much time wasted in this 69-minute film. You may find the degree of seriousness at odds with the absurdity of the monster when you finally see it, as happened with the previous year's The Giant Claw, where the lead actors were mortified at the screening when they saw their characters reacting with such terror to a ridiculous puppet. But I don't find that to be the case here. The performances, including Marshall Thompson's lead as Carruthers, are sober but not dramatically over the top. Sure, the monster looks a little clunky, but I think the actor's sincerity helps sell the situation. It, The Terror from Beyond Space, was directed by Edward L. Kahn. According to his IMDb page, this is amazingly not among the 4 films he's most known for. He's got 158 directing credits, but Scuttlebutt informs me, while he was prolific, he wasn't exactly respected. Many of his credits are actually short films from the late 30s and 40s. Then he moved on to low-budget films, crime films, westerns, and horror flicks. Some of these I've seen, including Zombies of Moratau, The Four Skulls of Jonathan Drake, Invasion of the Saucer Men, and Invisible Invaders. None of these are amazing movies. Let's talk about the monster. It is introduced to us through shadows cast on the wall, close-ups of rubbery feet, and heavy breathing and growling. From the shadow play, you get the impression that he's this great, hulking humanoid, and he tears his victims apart, but the carnage isn't actually that violent. It drains its victims, but leaves no puncture wounds, and none of this happens on screen. The alien appears indestructible, and they do try some bizarre tactics to kill it, including a couple different explosives, which I would think would be a really bad idea to detonate on a spaceship, especially one that doesn't seem that large. Ray Corrigan is credited as playing it. I did a little research on him and learned that he had kind of a circular career trajectory. 6'2" Corrigan was an athlete and physical fitness trainer in Hollywood who got his start working in front of the camera, playing an ape in Tarzan the Eighth Man, 1932, and a gorilla in its sequel, Tarzan and His Mate. Corrigan enjoyed some more regular success in the late 30s and early 40s, playing the roles of Tucson Smith and Crash Corrigan in a couple Western serials, The Three Musketeers and Rangebusters, and then it was back to playing gorillas. A lot of them. I've never seen a stranger filmography on IMDb. I wonder if he liked it. I kind of get the impression that playing apes and gorillas in the beginning was like a side gig for him. And he played a role in designing and improving these gorilla costumes and their functionality for whoever was inside of them. And that was something he passed on to the next go-to actor who played all the monkeys. So I guess that was his thing. The Terror from Beyond Space was his last film. He was able to retire afterward at the age of 56, and I don't know. It was a strange experience reading up on him because at first it seemed like a negative story, and then it seemed like, no, he embraced it. The suit design strikes me as reminiscent of other aliens or monsters from that period. It's kind of like a combo of the Thing and the Gillman in terms of movement and upper body bulk. That, plus the big ugly mask, makes it look just like one of the aliens you'd see on an episode of The Outer Limits from the mid-60s. But it is very much its own individual design. Various highlights from this film include a moment when Carruthers leans against a shaft screen and discovers a body. Just before this happened, I was thinking, oh, that would be a good hiding place for a body, and lo and behold, the movie delivered. There are other good moments, like when the crew is nervously listening to ominous sounds coming through the intercom, when the alien demonstrates its strength by bending a gun, and anytime the hatch opens painfully slowly, and we wonder if the alien is going to be right there on the stairs, ready to grab at our protagonists. There's also a unique sequence where two men walk down the outside of the ship. It's absolutely nonsensical, since they don't appear to have a tether and there are no handles, and you can infer if you want to that their shoes are clamping to the side, but that's not clear. It leads to a fun exterior shot, though, and the eerie music helps. The music, by the way, was composed by Paul Sawtelle and Burt Schefter, the same team that did the excellent music for The Fly, also from 1958. The main title theme for this film, I learned, was actually borrowed from Kronos, a 1957 film directed by Kurt Newman, who also directed The Fly. Everything's connected! The Terror from Beyond Space's biggest claim to fame nowadays, of course, is that it partially inspired a much more famous film, directed by Ridley Scott and written by Dan O'Bannon, 1979's Alien. The essential plots are the same. An aggressive, parasitic alien stows away on a spaceship and kills its crew one by one. Both films involve tension within the group, an attempt to seal off sections of the ship in an effort to keep the alien out. I think I'm remembering that correctly. I've seen Alien twice. Second time was a while ago. There's a surprise encounter in a shaft and a resolution involving an airlock. You'll notice that I'm not using any images from Alien here. That's because I want to sleep tonight. Great movie, but it terrifies me. Alien, of course, is the superior film. Let's not pretend that it isn't. But I don't think this one's so bad either. Sure, it's low budget, it's simple, it's a little clunky, but it's a good B-movie, and I recommend it to any fans of 1950s sci-fi. Those are my thoughts on It, the Terror from Beyond Space! I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out the film if you've never seen it before and you think it might be up your alley. And if you have seen it, I'd love to know what you think. Go ahead and share your thoughts in the comments below. And I'll be back next week with another video. Thanks for watching.